Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and this time round we're continuing the restoration project with the Summit 3, which is a retro pattern model from around the 90s. Last time round we basically decided to strip down everything. We took all the covering off the tailplane and the wings, and we sanded it, rubbed down all the fuselage as well, just so we can see what we're working with. So we're going to start off this part by preparing the tailplane, so the horizontal stabilizer, and also the wings and the rudder back for covering. So we'll get started by taking a look at the horizontal stabilizer. Now I think the best thing for these, because they kind of have a bit of like residue left on them from the covering, is I'm just going to give them initial light sand all over, and in doing so probably get rid of the last little bits of covering that's still on there. You see they have discolored quite a lot, but I think they'll look better with a general sort of sand down and we sort of see the condition they're in. So to do that I'm going to use Permagrit tools. So if you guys haven't seen these before, I'll put a link below in the description. I've been using Permagrit's tools for many years. They're really good blocks. Do a whole bunch of tools actually. I've got a smaller one here, and just to show you quickly, they also do this really nice sort of kind of selection of different shaped tools as well, from flat sanders to different shapes basically. Nice round one there. So real useful, it's all I really use. But today, put them to one side, we're going to use a smaller sanding block on this tail section. So let's give that a go and see what it comes out like. Okay, so I'm pretty pleased. So I've cleaned up this one just by sanding it down with the Permagrit blocks. Used a combination of both of those. And as a comparison, the bottom one hasn't been cleaned up. You can probably see the difference there. Wood's looking a lot nicer compared to the one that hasn't been cleaned. So I'm going to repeat that process for the bottom one. Then I'm currently debating whether I'm going to cut these hinges off as well to allow me to get the last bits of covering out of here. And then when I recover, to allow me to cover right inside on that tip and on the edge of the elevator as well. So I probably will cut them off, but let me just clean this up first. And there we go, there's the second one rubbed down as well. So I think they fire up a lot better, taking some of the discolouring off. Now some of you are probably wondering why I bother doing that, because I'm going to be recovering it anyway, but it was really just to get it nice and smooth again, get the stickiness back off there which was left over from the residue from the covering, and also so I can see what state they're in. So now that I've done that, I'm going to use some Modlite filler, which is balsa coloured, and just go over any of the dents that are left in here. There's a couple on the tip, I mean really small, one here on this side which I can feel, which will show through on the covering. Then on this side as well, I may as well fill in the hole from the tube because that's now glued in, and then just again give it a light fill, and once the filler's dry I'll rub it back down again. And then I think the only other job really is to cut off these elevators. Actually, let's do that first. So I choose a super sharp knife. There's only 3 hinges here. I should just be able to gently slice through each one. And there we go, that's come off. And then we can get that covering off and give that a nice sand as well. Again, that will allow me to cover the tips before I then rehinge that and put that back on. Same on this one. And there we go, that's part as well. So when I rehinge, I've got 2 choices. I can either try and take this out or just go to the side of it. There's enough space there to bring one in here, one in there, one here, and that'd be absolutely fine. Right, I'll clean this up get some filler on, rub it back down, and then show you. So let's take one of these. So the covering's now off on the hinge line, and you can see that I've built up some filler here, there, wherever it's needed. Now I haven't rubbed it down yet, it's still drying, but I just wanted to show you that I've kind of packed it on a little bit high, and I've done that deliberately because this filler is really easy to sand. I'd rather have a little bit too much on there and sand it nice and smooth than have not enough in there and have to do it again. So just a few bits on there. So while that's drying on both sections, I'm going to push all that to one side, and we'll do the same process on the wings. Okay, so that's the wing panels done as well. So I'm pretty pleased with how they've come out. They've had the initial sand. I've also put some filler on there as well and sanded most of the filler away. Now, to be honest with you, I'll probably go over the wing with filler twice, because I've just noticed second time round, that's okay, but there's an odd little bit I've missed. So I'm gonna do that twice, and then they're pretty much ready for covering. So I've just noticed on the tail plane, the horizontal stab rather, that the hole, so there's the two parts, this tube's glued in, this one obviously slides in, you can see the hole through the tube here, but the hole in this side isn't very nice, and it just really balsa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up a plate to go on top of that, something like that, just 1.5 centimetres or 1.5 with a hole through it. Then I'm going to embed that inside by cutting the square out, bed it down, sand it flush, and just gives us something else to screw against, rather than sort of the screw sort of just disappearing inside there. And then I'm going to re-tap the hole through here, so I can use a slightly bigger hex bolt. And there we go, there's the plate in place. Just a little bit of ply in there, it's flush with sand, and I've got a hole through there for the bolt. And then in the tube, on the corresponding section, I've just used an M3 tap to open up that hole and actually put a thread on that hole as well. And there's the tap and die set there with M3 tap. So now it should be a case of the bolt with the washer can go through. It's got something a bit more substantial to go against, I can screw hard against, and it will obviously screw into that. That's a slightly better solution than what we had before. And there's the blocks done in the tail plane. So firstly, the rear one there is for the tube, just to give me something for the screw to go up against, better than just having balsa there. I went ahead and did the front one as well. That's still got filler on it, so let me show you the other side. And that's where the instant adjuster is. So just rather than having a hole straight through the balsa, I've just put a block in, and I've sanded that block down as well. When I say block, I mean a piece of ply. And just drilled a hole through the ply first before putting it in place. So it just gives me a nice harder edge. If I'm going to be putting a driver in out there to just instant, I'd rather have that than have the balsa. Okay guys, so the last bit I need to turn my attention to, well, the last bit of wood balsa I need to turn my attention to is the rudder. Now, this is very, very suspect. Let me just show you a couple of photographs I took earlier of this on the scales, so you can see how much it weighs compared to half the horizontal stabilizer on the scales. Not much difference. So I kind of think this is, it just feels a bit wet. Well, not wet, it just feels damp. I don't know, it feels like it's soaked in something, or been soaked in something. It doesn't feel right, it feels horrible, it's got horrible stickiness to it. So I think I'm gonna have to make another one, but before I do that, what I'm actually gonna do is just sand this right down and just see what it's like once it's had a good sand on it. May as well, before we make another one. I mean, it should just be inside, it should be a foam core with balsa skin, same as the rest of it, same as the wings, same as the tail plane. But something's definitely happened to this. So let's have a good sand on it first, see what it comes up like, and then decide whether I'm gonna start making another one. So I spent quite a bit of time sanding the rudder. You can see now it's a lot cleaner. I mean, it's still pretty discoloured when you compare it to the tail section here, and it still feels a bit, you know, it feels definitely different to this. This is smooth, feels like balsa. This is a little bit sort of tacky, but you know, my betting is it's fuel soaked. However, having said that, if I now weigh it, so I think before it was like excuse me, 68 grams. Weigh it now and it's coming out at 43. So you go, so look at the difference there now, 43. So that's a lot of weight just come off that by sanding it. It's basically a sanded with grime away from it. So my new line of thought is I'll probably will just glass cloth it. Obviously glass clothing it will add a little more weight back onto it, but it will also protect it, and I think it'd be okay rather than try and remake that exact shape rudder, which I could do, but I think for this particular project it'd be fine if we just glass cloth it and then we can spray it. Okay guys, that pretty much concludes this part of the restoration project. So we've got the wings and the horizontal stabilizer pretty much ready to go, as in ready to be recovered, and we've had a good look at the rudder as well. So what I'm actually decided to do now, and I know I keep changing my mind, is I am going to create a new rudder. This will just bother me if I try and glass cloth it and put it back on model. It's going to bother me because it's too heavy and I know it's fuel soaked. The foam's really fuel soaked in there. So I'll get some balsa and perhaps we'll do that next time around. Guys, I hope to see you again. Please like the video, it really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't done already, please hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel and the notification icon as well, so you get to know when the next video is out. I'll see you then.